Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of March 27th, 2025, including Assassin's Creed Shadows is the shot in the arm that Ubisoft's been needing, Indy officially has a release date on PlayStation 5, and more. On this week in Xbox history, in the year 2004, 21 years ago, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow was released for the Xbox. This is what I'm talking about. This was the era where, Splinter Cell and Ubisoft and everything just felt so, especially Splinter Cell, of course, just felt so Xbox-centric. It just feels like the appropriate IP for Xbox to go after if they're going to try to pick apart something from the Ubisoft catalog, if there really is this Ubisoft Tencent restructure thing that seems to be absolutely happening, although I don't know, maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows has bought them some more time. We'll get into that. But I have no real tie to the original Splinter Cell games, other than I just remember my brother-in-law and my older brother at the time being super into Splinter Cell, and me being like, yeah, it's so cool, I love it, it's such an adult game, it's so mature. And then I would play it or watch my brother play it or something, and then I'd be like, I'm going back to Pikmin on GameCube. I don't remember playing these games, but a few years ago I did try to go back and I played some of the original Splinter Cell, and there's something really timeless and something really nice about that, quaint but also very timeless and classic about it. And I didn't finish playing it, but I did enjoy going back and kind of, I don't know, you ever have that experience where you play something or you watch something or you hear music or something that is unfamiliar, you didn't grow up experiencing this, but it feels nostalgic nonetheless. It's very much how going back to play the original Splinter Cell felt as someone who didn't play the original Splinter Cell, but it was a nice experience nonetheless. Guys, welcome to episode 304 of the Xbox On podcast. Park C writes in and says, Jesse, what the fuck was that horrendous song at the end of the podcast last week? Was that Sabrina Carpenter's asthmatic mom singing that after smoking 3 packs of Marlboros? No, that was Shadow the Hedgehog singing Sabrina Carpenter. Listen, I don't know. It was my girlfriend's birthday the other week, and we were playing music in the car, and it was like, oh, let me try to play some music that I know you like, that, sometimes she gets mad when I try to pick a song, because she's like, you're just trying to do this to please me. So I'm trying to find artists that I know she likes that I also are somehow universally agreed to be inoffensive to me, so that she doesn't feel like I'm just doing it to service her, but also that we can get along and enjoy it together. And honestly, Sabrina Carpenter has become one of those artists where I can put on some Sabrina Carpenter and get behind it. It's not something I'm going to listen to on my drive home from work all by my lonesome, but I can get down with a little Sabrina Carpenter. She's not bad. So I had the song in my head. I had the song of Sabrina Carpenter's, the one and only song she's known for. And I said, I wonder if Sonic the Hedgehog has sang this thanks to the revolution that is AI. So I look it up on YouTube, and all but 3 seconds later, I find out, no, Sonic the Hedgehog hasn't sung Sabrina Carpenter, but you know who has? Shadow the Hedgehog. And I vaguely remember this being a meme also, a meme that I fully don't understand. But without even thinking, I just copied the link, I transitioned it, transferred it, changed it to MP3, shoved it in the podcast and said, here you go, listen to Shadow the Hedgehog singing Sabrina Carpenter this week. And then immediately YouTube was like, no, you fucking don't. We are not only, these videos aren't monetized, but not only are we not monetizing these unmonetized videos, we are just shadow banning this video. They basically told me, which I appreciate the courtesy. They said there are certain regions and countries where we straight up will not show your podcast because you've included this, I guess, for copyright reasons. So immediately I then had to re-edit the podcast for the video version. So if you watch or listen to the podcast through YouTube, there was no end credits song because I had to last minute cut that out. But if you listen on podcast services, which is where the majority of you do listen, oh boy, you were in for a little bit of a auditory treat. So apologies, Parksy. It won't happen again. At least not that combination. Shadow the Hedgehog singing Sabrina Carpenter. I can promise you that won't happen again. Now, I can't promise you we're not going to have Solid Snake singing, I don't know, Metallica. We'll figure it out. It might happen. So don't bet against it is all I'm saying. All right, guys, welcome to Xbox On. We have some notable games coming out this week, so let's just kick off with that. We don't got much else going on. It is spring break for the young kids around the country right now, and apparently Xbox is also on spring break because there's like no news, but we make do. Atomfall comes to Xbox March 27th, so the day this podcast goes live. Xbox Play Anywhere title, of course, Game Pass day one. This is the new game from Rebellion, the guys that make the Sniper Elite and Zombie Elite trilogy games, Zombie Army trilogy games. I'm very curious to try this game. It seems like it's getting relatively decent feedback. I'm a little confused because they say that it is like a survival action game, but from what I'm seeing, this game looks a lot more like immersive sim meets like some kind of Fallout open world Western RPG style thing. So I don't know. I don't know if it's more like Stalker. I don't know if it's more like Fallout. I don't know if it's more like We Happy Few. I don't know if it's more like Deathloop or like an arcade game. I don't know what it's more like. But it looks like fun, and the setting and the synopsis is cool. This nuclear fallout wasteland in northern England following World War II, and it's pretty cool. It's an interesting synopsis. It's a cool setting. The gameplay looks great. It looks like this awesome AA gem of a game, like back in the 360 years when we used to get just like random things like Bulletstorm here and there that were just phenomenal games that were totally separate from our AAA, classics like Halo and Mass Effect. And so Atomfall is a game I welcome with open arms. Rebellion is a developer I have a lot of appreciation and respect for, and I just want to see this game be a hit for them. So I'm excited to give it a go once I wrap up Avowed, which I thought I was going to do this past weekend. Definitely didn't do this past weekend, but we'll probably do this upcoming weekend, and then I'm going to move right on into Atomfall just in time to get bombarded by South of Midnight, of course, and then I got to get back to Spider-Man 2 on PC because that should be running pretty decent by now, right? You think so? I don't know. I got to look into that. That's not the only game that's coming out on Thursday, though. We got one other game, and that is the first Berserker Kazan. So this is that new hardcore RPG dungeon fighting whatever game from Nexon, the Korean publisher that does like. That's the fucking, what am I trying to think of? Guild Wars people? Yeah, Nexon is, so I don't know if I guess they have a publishing team and a developer, so I guess they're doing it all in-house. I don't really know too much about Nexon. I just know I played Guild Wars growing up, so I feel some relation to them. But I know this is a game a lot of people thought looked pretty cool nonetheless, so I just thought I'd mention that it's out there. It's a new IP from them. Pretty cool. I don't know. It's real like Souls-like combat stuff from what I remember seeing in the trailer whenever this was shown at whatever event it was shown at in the past year. I want to say a Summer Games Fest type event. But this game does absolutely nothing for me, but I know it's one of those games that's going to have a lot of eyes and ears assigned to it, and so I just want to give it a shout out because it is worth mentioning nonetheless. But that's the first Berserker Kazan out now, along with Atomfall. Guys, when I'm not playing Atomfall, when I'm not playing Avowed, when I'm not making delicious soup for all the village children, I'm generally talking about news as it pertains to Xbox. And this week, we're going tapas style. That's right, baby. We don't got no main news stories. There's just nothing that pressing going on in the world of Xbox, and that's okay. Sometimes a slow news week or a mild news week is all you need. So we're going tapas style, no entrees, no individual portion sizes. We are just ordering a whole bunch of things and we're going to share them. So here comes the mildly amusing stories this week, and that's where we'll stay, I think. So kicking us off, I did want to just point this out. I didn't really write this down or anything, but I saw Windows Central was reporting that there was this image that Microsoft posted and then took down quickly, but The Verge had spotted it. And it was this image that has like, the Xbox ecosystem. It shows like a Steam Deck and an Xbox Series S and X and a PC and a phone and a tablet and a TV screen. And it's like, the whole like Xbox is everything and anything, whatever. But if you look real closely, it shows the Xbox Game Store, like this version of the Xbox Game Store that doesn't exist on the PC. And it shows like, it's like, here's your library. You can look at recently added games installed, games that you own, games on Game Pass, whatever. And one of the options there is games from Steam. It's just like a tab for Steam. Now, a lot of people are saying this is actually already a thing that exists with Microsoft Game Bar, with the PC Game Bar feature that is built into Windows. that they added for specifically for devices like Steam Deck, so that when you're running the Xbox app on your Steam Deck or your ROG Ally or whatever device you're using, you can access your Steam library or your Xbox Game Pass library or whatever, and GamePar will make it easier to switch between them. But this looks like some early, prematurely shown image that this is a feature that they're looking to integrate into the Xbox PC app in and of itself. And some people are trying to take this a step further and saying, well, could this be an accidental leak or glimpse at the future of Xbox, as the rumors keep insisting that the next generation of Xbox hardware, the killer feature, the thing that differentiates it from PlayStation or from the traditional console that we've come to know and love, is that this will be more of a device meant for everyone, or for all in one. So not like the Xbox One, more like the Xbox One, but if it was geared specifically towards PC gaming and not TV and entertainment. So, the Xbox, whatever next generation, could be some device where it's like, hey, here's your Xbox games, and here's your Steam games, and you can also access the Epic Games Store, and you can also play your PlayStation games via Steam here, and it's a box that you put in your living room, but it's also an app on your phone, and it's also a thing on your computer and your handheld and everything, and that this could be a peek behind the curtain of some stuff they're working on to kind of integrate all of your libraries across all of your platforms into one ecosystem and have that become Xbox, which the more and more this idea gets tossed around, the more I'm like, listen, it's not the Xbox I fell in love with, that's for sure. I just want to trash talk people's mothers while I play Halo 3 and drink Mountain Dew. However, I think this is for a brand that must evolve. It is what must happen. Things change, things evolve. In order to remain relevant, you must remain in a constant state of adapting and morphing. And if this is what Xbox is adapting to and morphing into, I feel like this is pretty cool. I think it's, at least in theory, on paper, a really fun, a really unique, a really innovative, and a really useful platform that I definitely am curious to become further ingratiated in. It's just a matter of whether or not Xbox, I think it always comes back to the same conversation again and again. Can Xbox become this iteration that it seems they're gearing towards, or that they're veering into, without sacrificing the totality of their proprietary hardware vertical? And that's the question that remains to be answered, and I think it's the thing that's on everyone's mind, and it's the thing that everyone's hesitant about, because the rest of this all sounds cool. I think everyone's on board for this idea. It's just a matter of, but what happens to the Xbox hardware? So I know we've talked about this like at least 3 or 4 times already in recent months, so it's not like this is a new conversation, but I did just want to throw out, this is another little piece to the puzzle, another little thing to chew on, something to put in your cap and think about. So I just wanted to throw it out there, maybe confuse you a little bit. Maybe you thought you knew what Xbox's plans were for the imminent future, and now you're just not sure because Jesse shared some information that just broke your tiny brain. Have you ever thought about that? Well, now you are. All right, guys, let's move on. So Xbox Early Access DLC makes a return for South of Midnight, but very, very, very cheap compared to how it's been in the past. So when Starfield came out, when a new Forza game comes out, when Indiana Jones came out, typically they say, oh yeah, you can buy the, pre-order the deluxe edition or whatever for $30 more for Game Pass subscribers and get access to the game 3, 4, 5 days early. Then in February, when Avowed came out, they kind of did something different where they're like, yeah. For an extra $25 or $22 for Game Pass subscribers, you can get the game 3, 5 days early. I think it's 5 days early is usually what they do. Well, now with South of Midnight, they're taking it from $30 to $22 to $8. I mean, this is really affordable. They're saying that, yeah, if you want to pre-order the game or pre-download this it's $9, this $9 premium upgrade for Game Pass players, it will grant you 5-day early access to South of Midnight, along with digital goodies like South of Midnight art book, an original soundtrack, the Boo Hag comic book by Rob Gilroy, music videos, song and tales of South of Midnight, and a documentary weaving Hazel's journey, which is already on YouTube, but this is a director's cut version of that documentary that I've still not seen because I really just don't want to see any more of this game because this game looks really good and I just kind of want to play it and experience it with fresh eyes. However, that's crazy. I do just want to say, I mean, this is pretty imminent. You'll be able to play South of Midnight with that $5 early access. I mean, the game comes out April 8th. So if you want to play it 5 days early, that's going to bring it out next Thursday on April 3rd. I mean, fuck, you can be playing at South of Midnight next weekend. So this is really exciting. I'm 100% going to do this. I was already going to do this under the assumption that this would be $25-$30 because I have a creeping suspicion that South of Midnight is going to get decent, solid at best reviews. I'm talking like high 6, low to mid 7, somewhere in that range kind of reviews. And I'm thinking this game is going to bomb commercially. I think this game's going to do really, really poorly. And I don't know if that's going to spell the end of We Happy Few developer compulsion, but it does make me really worry because I think South of Midnight is exactly the kind of game I've been clamoring for, not just from the industry as a whole, but from Xbox in particular, which is just such a fresh breath of fresh air. It is whimsical. It has comic mischief, but it's still tonally a little dark and mature as Xbox games tend to be, which I appreciate. So it's kind of within brand while also being something fresh that Xbox needs. It's a third-person action game. It's a story-driven game. It's a character-driven game. It focuses on different kinds of mechanics that Xbox first-party games don't typically focus on. It's not a third-person shooter, a first-person shooter, or a racing game, or an RPG, or an epic open world. It's just a 12-hour action-adventure, story-driven game designed at, probably geared at, young adults and stuff like that. It's a very, T-rated type of game. And I just think Xbox desperately needs stuff like this. I guess on PlayStation these days, really, if you want to draw to something somewhat similar, you got Spider-Man, you got Uncharted maybe, right? And then if you're on Nintendo, you got tons of stuff that are for all kinds of age ranges. In fact, most of Nintendo stuff is just all ages, kids to adults type content. I just feel like South of Midnight, not to say that it's going to be like baby brain food, like where it's going to be Mario level storytelling where fucking Hazel's going to bake a cake for her mom and then her mom's going to get kidnapped by Goomba Hurricane. And then she's going to have to go collect 85 power moons to make her mom come back and eat cake or some shit like that. I assume the story is going to be a little more mature than that, but it's just the kind of game that not only do I love story-driven games, I love third-person action games, I love platforming, I love action-adventure, I love linear experiences, I love tailor-made experiences of games. Don't get me wrong, I love my open world, I love exploring and playing games the way you want to, making choices. I think that's great, but I think we get way too much of that in gaming, and there's not enough of a tailor-made, linear, let me show you, let me give you a directed experience. And I think South of Midnight is going to be that for Xbox. Xbox so sorely needs that, and I just truly, truly believe deep down in my heart of hearts that this game is going to critically get muddled, it's going to be real middle of the road, and commercially I think it's just going to fucking bomb. It's going to flail and bomb. This is going to be easily their biggest bomb since Hellblade 2 in my opinion. I hope and pray that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wronger than when your wife says take a left and you take a wrong instead. I'm just hoping I'm wrong, but I have a pretty good feeling about this one. Now that being said, can't wait to play South of Midnight. It's literally just so up my alley. Very much looking forward to it. In fact, I'll be honest, we'll get to it when we get to what I've been playing. Avowed is great. I like Avowed a lot. Avowed is not grabbing me as much as I thought Avowed would. And I think as of right now, South of Midnight has very high potential to be my favorite gaming experience of the year, or at least thus far. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to giving this game a go. So shout out to Avowed. Just want to give it its attention. I think for $9, listen, do what you want with your money. I think the financially wise thing to do is just wait the extra 5 fucking days. It doesn't make a difference. I don't think it's beneficial necessarily to hop in and pay the extra 10, 20, $30 to get the game early, especially if it's a game that's not going to be like a water cooler game where everyone's going to be talking about the narrative and spoiling the fuck out of the game. Although this is a narrative-based game, so people could spoil it, though I don't think it'll be talked about all that much. Regardless of the fact, while I generally would say, I try not to give into temptation, try to be financially responsible, I want to spend the $10 because I want to support Compulsion. I want to tell them, yes, more games like this. I want to tell Xbox, yes, more games like this. I'm a big fan of putting your money where your mouth is. And while one person probably doesn't really fucking make a difference, it's more about the principle of it and just kind of being the person you say you're going to be. So to me, this is pretty important. And I think $9 seems like $9 well spent to support a project like this. So really excited for South of Midnight. $9, 5 days early access. So if I finish Avowed this weekend, which is all but guaranteed, I'll be playing that fucking South of Midnight. Not on launch night on April 3rd, because Daddy's got work the next day. But on April 4th, oh yeah, baby, let's do it. All right, shit, I think I got people coming to visit us that weekend. Fuck. I'll figure something out. I'm spending the $9 no matter what, so we'll figure something out. But guys, let's move on to our next one here. All right, so Assassin's Creed Shadows launched last week, and it's the series' second biggest launch ever, according to sales data supplied to VGC. Shadows launched on console and PC and surpassed 2 million players in just 2 days, according to Ubisoft publisher, their announcement over the weekend, which it noted is higher than both Odyssey and Origins. According to further data seen by VGC, Shadows delivered the second highest day one sales revenue in the franchise's history, only behind Valhalla. And that's really important to note, because Valhalla was a game that came out at the launch of the Xbox Series X and S and at the launch of the PlayStation 5. So not only was that game just a hotly anticipated popular Assassin's Creed entry that did well and was well received, it also had that extra hype of like people were buying new consoles and were looking for games to buy for excuses to play new boundary pushing games on their new hardware. So for a game like Assassin's Creed Shadows to just come out randomly in the middle of March on some random year when gaming is kind of on a little bit of a dip in terms of engagement and everything, is pretty fucking impressive. It means that people are really digging this game. There's a lot of hype around it. There's a lot of eagerness to get into it. So congrats to Ubisoft. They very much needed a win, and I'm very happy for them that it seems like this is a win. Now, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this game. Leading up to its launch. I'm really pleased to say that it doesn't seem like a lot of that controversy has bled into the discourse now that the game is in the hands of players, which is awesome. So hopefully people are just enjoying it and not going on and bitching about how there's a black samurai in Japan. So that's nice. Just enjoy your fucking video game and play it if it's fun, and fuck off about the rest. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully that continues to be just a game that can do well for Ubisoft and please players. Because I'll be honest, guys, I don't really have a horse in the race. It's just I don't want to see the competition thin, and I don't want to see the herd thin, and I don't want to see a big historied player like Ubisoft fall out. So I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them just from the standpoint of I want to see them come out on the other end stronger and make it through. I don't want Tencent to get involved. I don't want there to be a restructure that involves Tencent. I want Ubisoft to continue to be Ubisoft and do what they need to do to get back in the good graces of players and put out some games that really resonate on a large scale with people once again, instead of just bad decision after bad decision, it seems like, although maybe that's more of a hindsight observation. However, Assassin's Creed Shadows doing quite well. High engagement, tons of players concurrent on Steam, tons of viewers concurrent on Twitch, that kind of thing. So all good. I mean, by now that the game's a week old, you got to assume it's probably at over 3 million copies, maybe 3 or 4 million copies sold. So yeah, doing much better than, Dragon Age Origins did, which sold, 2 million copies in 4 months. So there you go. Assassin's Creed Shadows already showing that it's not a total failure, which is a great sign. It's also just a great sign that gamers are still hungry and eager for more AAA, new, exciting launches in a year where everyone is just eagerly waiting for GTA. So good for you guys. Happy to hear it. Guys, let's move on. Speaking of Assassin's Creed, we got to talk about the new Xbox update Game Hub feature. So Xbox has started testing a new feature for consoles, which brings up a game's information when you try to boot it rather than just launching the game. The feature, which Xbox calls Game Hubs, kicks you in the fucking ass. It kicks in when players try to launch a game from either their recently played games or from their library. Instead of the game booting up automatically, players are instead first shown an informational screen which gives players news regarding the game. Xbox has a random subset of users who have opted into Xbox Insider Preview program have been given access to this feature, and VGC is among those who have received it. Upon trying to launch WWE 2K25, for example, we were presented with a screen informing us that we have played it for 66 hours, as well as our total gamer score for the game and our most recent achievements. Recent captures we took from the game are also, they show some screenshots, and then it shows all the other things it shows, listing out paid DLC. If players are interested in any additional information on that, they can press A to launch into the store. And also, they tried launching Disney Dreamlight Valley from their library, and they were presented with a similar screen, but it also included an events tab with information about a new Aladdin-themed realm, which is being added to the game, and a short video showing how it works. So they put that on VGC. You can look it up. What's interesting here is this is very much like a direct imitation of like what Steam does, because in Steam it's like you look at your library on the left of your screen and you click on a game. Let's say you click on come on, Jesse. You click on Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and it doesn't launch the game. It takes you into the hub where it's like you can launch the game, you can look at your achievements, you can see your friends who have played it, you can see how many hours you and your friends have put into it, you can look at reviews, you can look at DLC from the store, you can look at whatever, the mod community and see if there's any new mods, any new updates to the game, any community announcements, if it's a live service game, whatever the case may be. And this is a pretty common thing that's been a part of Steam forever, and this looks like Xbox just blatantly kind of ripping it off and being like, hey, here it is. My thing is, like, I have no problem with this feature at all. In fact, I actually kind of like it because one of the things I love to do with my Xbox is every time I launch it, I like to just meander about. I like to launch my Xbox knowing I'm going to play this game. But before I play this game, I'm going to go into Game Pass. I'm going to go in the store. I'm going to scroll around the homepage. I'm just going to look and meander about and see what's going on in Xbox. And I like the idea of more information, just kind of being like, hey, you're about to launch this game. Here's an update from the community manager, and here's the achievements you have, and here's how many hours you've logged. And hey, did you know your friends also playing the game? This is how many hours they've put in. I like that stuff. I think it's fun. I think it's more engaging. However, I feel like in Steam it works because it's kind of always been that way, and everything's just like click away. But on Xbox, I feel like this might be annoying because everything isn't just like computer, mouse, keyboard, click here, click there. It's like you're using the controller, you tap into something, and then it takes up your entire screen. It's like now you're here. And I feel like when the experience was previously click on a game, launch the game, now you're playing the game, and then transitions to click on a game, now you're in a hub page where it's trying to sell you shit and engage with you and get you to look at more stuff and do more stuff, and then you got to select launch game from in that menu. I feel like it's just grounds for arbitrary bitching. Listen, if there's one thing the internet loves, it's a good excuse to bitch and complain about things. So I just worry that this is going to become an excuse for people to bitch and moan about things, but that is why they are testing it on some insiders and they're rolling out slowly. I, for one, at least on paper, like the idea of this, but I could see this being a very unpopular change, although it does seem like something that would be part of this universal UI that Xbox is trying to develop that would go across the handheld and the PC app and the consoles and everything in between. And it's just, again, it's one of those things where it's like on the handheld, on the PC, I feel like people wouldn't complain about this, but on the console, I feel like this might be a little controversial. Meaningless, subtle, small, insignificant, no doubt. Controversial? Oh, you bet. Absolutely. On this internet? Oh, you bet. Guys, let's controverse ourselves around a positive story, some good news. The reforming of a team that has since that had been defunct since last year. We got some positive news here. So less than a year after it was closed, veteran games publication Game Informer has been rescued by blockchain developer Gunzilla Games. In an announcement posted on its Revival website on Tuesday, Game Informer said that it would be returning both digital and to print, with the entire team that was working on it during the closure reunited. Game Informer was closed by its previous owner GameStop last year, following a 33-year run of print and online publication. Gunzilla Games is a creator of NFT Battle Royale game Off the Grid, a blockchain platform Guns. The studio has the backing of Hollywood director Neil Blomkamp, who is the chief visionary officer. Don't love that. Miller wrote, quote, Game Informer now operates under a new entity called Game Informer Inc. Our intent is to continue to focus on highlighting the coolest games, celebrating the history and legacy of gaming industry, and shining a spotlight on the creators and players who are charting its future. I'm deeply grateful to be trusted with, deeply grateful for the trust and enthusiasm that the team at Gunzilla Games they see the potential in Game Informer as our team does, and they've encouraged us to do so ethically and free outside pressure, and it's laudable. Currently, Game Informer's website is back online if you go there, including an archive of legacy content. It's also intended to revive a print magazine, it said, along with a number of subscription benefits. So, I don't have too much to say about this. Don't love blockchain stuff, don't love NFT stuff, but hey, here's an example of something good coming as a result of one of these companies and one of these groups. So I guess I won't harp on it too much. It's just a feel good story. Listen, Game Informer is a thing. It's like, of course I'm nostalgic for it. Of course I remember some really particular issues like growing up, seeing like the Epic Mickey issue and things like that. Just Game Informer being a thing where like kids at school would bring it and try to like read it in class and stuff. Yes, if you're a fucking Gen, what is it? What do they call the new one? Gen Alpha. If you're a new little kid, if you're Gen Z, maybe you didn't know. But back in the day, kids either had little cell phones that can only make phone calls and text, or they just didn't have cell phones at all. So they used to do things like bring Game Boys and magazines and things like that to school so they could sneak in ways to keep themselves entertained during boring classes or during lunchtime. And Game Informer was a pinnacle. It was a what am I trying to say? It was a core example of that for me growing up. I just feel like Game Informer was that thing that like every 12-year-old boy had in his backpack when I was in middle school. And it's just, I just remember like being at the lunch table with my friends and like someone whips out the Gears of War 2 issue of Game Informer. It's like, bro, Horde mode's so dope. Marcus Phoenix is a guy and he's got a big penis and I'm going to go home and play Xbox and shoot people. And it's just you're eating your shitty lunch food and you're wondering when the fuck can I go home and all that. And it's just warm, fuzzy memories. So to see Game Informer come back, there's something comforting, warm, and fun about that. But also, more importantly, and on a grander scale, bigger picture, it's just good to see that this team gets reunited and that these guys get to come back to this thing that was kind of taken from them that they love doing and that, it gets to live again. So always for that. It's good to have more outlets. It's good to have more voices. It's good to have more ways to engage with information, things like that. And even though print is kind of obsolete and quaint, it is also just nice to have. And there's something, I don't know, something nice about it, right? I've been on kind of like a low tech kick lately. I'm not going to do this, but I've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit, especially on YouTube, of this like push away from being highly integrated into your this modern high tech world where people are trying to push back. Like, let me explain what it is instead of repeat myself. So, like, it's this thing where, God, this is gonna sound like so New York, California hipster fucking coffee shop Apple fan of me to say, but it's this thing where you kind of like push back and instead of carrying like the latest bendy flippy Samsung phone or the latest iPhone Plus Max with 45 camera bumps on it. The idea is that it's like you give up your high tech and you downgrade to things that, the technology we used back in like the early 2000s. So like you get like a dumb phone, like a Nokia, like HMD Nokia still makes like dumb basic phones and things like that. So you get like a little flip phone for phone calls and text messaging exclusively. And you get like you go on eBay and you buy like an old iPod or an old Zune and you carry that around to have your music library. Some people are really hardcore about it and they get like a Walkman or something like that. And then like you get a Kindle for book reading, or you just carry a physical book in your bag and you get like a Casio watch instead of like an Apple Watch or something like that. And the idea is to just kind of like, disengage a little bit with how much social media and doom scrolling and phones and AI and all this shit kind of eats up our life, and just instant gratification, instant access to all the things all the time, and just trying to like, detox a little bit by receding back into a simpler time and a simpler, more healthy relationship that we humankind had with tech from like 20 years ago, as a way to kind of detox for a while, and then you kind of jump back into your iPhone 17 Max Plus XL once the time comes and you're ready to go back to shouting expletives at strangers on Twitter. So I don't know. There's something quaint about that where I feel like Game Informer kind of fits. It kind of resonates at a time where I'm following that rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh, isn't there something kind of nice to the idea of like, I can go onto IGN.com and wait for a web page to load for 4 minutes, or I can beg mom to drive me to GameStop and I can put $5 pre-order down on fucking the new Zelda game and then get a issue of Game Informer to take home with me and just pour through the pages while I sit in the back of the car and mom drives me home. And there's just something fun and nice about that, and I just it's cool. It's cool to see that Game Informer lives on. And even though it is a boutique niche thing, it's not like something kids today are going nuts over. I like the idea of like a 12-year-old boy in today's world being able to find out about Game Informer, subscribe to it, and carry around an issue of what would they have on the cover of Game Informer in 2025? probably just Fortnite every fucking issue, right? Just Fortnite, just all the time. It's just like Nicki Minaj and Snoop Dogg with the banana peel guy and the pinata character, and that's just every issue, just always. And like, you'll never guess who joined Fortnite. It's Ren and Stimpy and Bill Cosby. But anyway, so shout out to Game Informer, feel good story nonetheless. And we move on. We move on to a final story of mild amusement, which I put this in here because I think this is both in the spirit of Xbox and very much so the spirit of Xbox On, which is that McDonald's has officially announced an upcoming Minecraft-inspired McFlurry, and it's coming on sale, I think now. I think you can find it at McDonald's starting this week. It's probably only in the U.S. I'm sure in the U.K. your government probably your government banned it because it's got things that will make you sick and give you chronic illness. Oh, your government protects you. Oh. In Australia, you probably can't get this because, your government protects you. You can't eat battery acid and high fructose corn syrup. Well, I live in a free country where we can eat whatever the fuck we want. So my McDonald's is going to have the Minecraft McFlurry, you little fuckboy. But no, silliness aside. So I guess there's a Minecraft thing at McDonald's. They probably have Happy Meal toys if I had to guess. I'm pretty sure I saw a promotional picture for it, but I'm not 100%. But that's not what I care about. Happy Meal toys haven't been fun in a very long time. Instead, what I care about is the Minecraft-inspired McFlurry, which is, your typical vanilla soft-serve McFlurry, but it has apple cake bites swirled in it. So instead of M&Ms, instead of Oreo bits, you get apple cake chunks, and they're green, and it's awesome. It says apple cake McFlurry consists of soft-serve dairy ice cream swirled with apple and shortcake pieces and finished with sour apple sauce, according to the press release. That sounds fine. I'm not a crazy fan of apple in general. Like I like an apple pie just fine, but I don't care. I love the idea of this particular food item, and it makes me excited. And I just feel like what better way to do what I've been eating than to maybe go out and try this. So the little sour apple bites look like little green blocks, like the creepers or whatever from Minecraft, and then the apple crumb shortcake bites look like little blocks, like what generic building blocks look like in Minecraft. So I guess it's supposed to look like little blocky pixely things in your McFlurry, and then the McFlurry cup is all pixelated, which is cool. So I just want to give a shout out to that, throw it out there. It's probably going to be on sale for the next couple weeks. So if you're in the U.S., maybe you want to go to your local McDonald's and try the Minecraft McFlurry. So it could be kind of like a Minecraft McFlurry book club type thing where this week we all agree to go out and try it. And then next week you guys write in with your thoughts and opinions about how it was, if it was good, if it wasn't good, what you thought. And then I'll add it into the what I've been eating category. And then next week we can go back and forth and talk about the McDonald's exclusive Minecraft McFlurry. I just think it'd be a really fun and engaging way for the podcast to come together and share a meal, wouldn't you say? But I am a little excited to give that a try, I'm not gonna lie. Speaking of unhealthy food, you guys, that's gonna do it for all of our short, mildly amusing stories today. The tapas were delicious, but that's not all, because I want to tell you about the games I've been playing this past week. But before I can even tell you about the games I've been playing, I'm contractually obligated to tell you about what it is I've been eating. And it's some unhealthy fast food bullshit. Not really, but I did drive. I was on the road a couple days ago, and I said, fuck it, I'm not going to have time to eat today if I don't stop by and grab something. And I'm not super hungry, but I know there's something at at Taco Bell that I've been meaning to try and haven't tried yet. So they have these new Crunchwrap sliders. And I said, let me give them a try, because they're small. I can get 2 of them. It's like 400 calories, and I move on with my day, right? So I stopped by a Taco Bell, and I say, yeah, let me get a Zero Sugar Baja Blast and order those Taco Bell steak Crunchwrap sliders you got, those new ones. And I'm picturing, I don't know why in my head, I'm picturing that for $5, it's going to be like 3 or 4 sliders. It's fast food, right? I don't know. No, it's 2 sliders, and oh boy, are they small. They're like 2-3 bite max. And it's like $5. It's fucking ridiculous. But it's a Crunchwrap Supreme in mini format. But it has like pico de gallo, it has steak on it, and it has little chili peppers, and then it has like a cheesy queso dipping sauce you get to put them in. And I tried them, and I'm like, here's the thing. They're totally fine. They're not bad at all. In fact, I enjoyed them. I did not like them nearly as much as I thought I would. And the whole time I was eating them, I was like, the novelty of this is just that you're eating it in mini slider form. I feel like if you just made this a full-size Crunchwrap, it would be way better than making it this little mini thing. And it's good because it's not just your typical Crunchwrap with steak instead of beef or chicken. It's got other different things. You got the queso dip to put it in. You got the pico de gallo in there. And the chilies and everything to give it different texture, a different fresh kick, a different like balance of flavors. It's nice. And when it's in mini form like sliders, the crunchy part of the Crunchwrap Supreme is more prominent, which I appreciate. But I hated eating it like a little slider because the Crunchwrap is already so bready, so much tortilla that it's made even worse because there's so little middle part when all of it is just this mini little slider. It feels like you're eating mostly just the edges. So I gotta say, this thing was an overall disappointment. It wasn't bad, it was good, but it was very much a one and done for me. So the Taco Bell steak, Crunchwrap sliders, I was very excited to give these a try. I wanted to try that new Milk Bar collaboration they had for that new Milk Bar churro, but that was already gone when I got there. So I said, I guess I'm not trying that. But I don't know. Taco Bell, listen, you're more hit than you are miss, but this one, for me, a little bit of a miss. So that's it for what I've been eating. Nothing super crazy, nothing super proud about. Otherwise just been like eating at home and kind of usual stuff. Nothing you want to hear about. I made pasta the other night. It was just okay. Had beef, spinach, lean beef, spinach, onions, tomato paste, salt and pepper, garlic. Put a little half and half there to cream it up a bit. Tons of spinach. I put a whole bag of spinach in there, wilted it down. It was supposed to be like a moderately healthy, indulgent pasta dish. It was okay. The night before that, my girlfriend made soup. That was much better. What do you want to know? You want to know everything I've been eating? God damn it. Okay. I had coffee this morning. Spoonful of sugar. Anyway, silliness aside, guys, that's it for what I've been eating. But now I got to tell you, before I kill you, I got to tell you about what I've been eating. No. Wait, we already did that. Okay, I got to tell you about what I've been playing. There we go. I finally made it back to Avowed, you guys. I did it. I'm here. I'm back. So I was in the second section of the game, and I wanted to clear out all the side missions, so I kind of lingered and did that. And then I moved on to the next section of the game. I'm in the deserty, sandy part of the game, and I looked it up, and I'm a little over halfway through the main quest line. In fact, if I just kind of beeline the story, I'm really in the last 4 hours of the game from what I can tell, last maybe 3 to 5 hours. But this is a rare game where I'm not doing all of the side content. I'm not doing everything this game has to offer, but I am kind of going through a decent amount of the side content, which is dragging it out a little bit, which I kind of appreciate because I don't usually do that in these kinds of games. But one of the things I like about Avowed is because its nature of being not the biggest, most expansive, crazy open world game, with it being a little more curated, a little more directed, a little more linear, a little smaller and more focused, it makes it less daunting for me to experience a little more of what the game has beyond just the main quest line. So I like that. Personally, like I've said, I like smaller, more directed, more linear experiences, and games like Avowed really work for me because they give me that fix of playing a game like a Starfield or Elder Scrolls or whatever, but without being daunting and overwhelming and having too much to do. I know most people are different. Most people are like, oh, I want to play a game that's 4,000 hours. Okay, little Jimmy, but some of us have day jobs and we don't have 4,000 hours for a game, but we have 20 hours for Avowed. And for that, I like Avowed a lot. Here's the thing. The story is not bad, but I'm also I'm following it 90% just fine, but I'm not loving it. I'm not crazy about it. I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's particularly standout or excellent in any way. And I like the first and third companion you get a lot, but I really don't like that second companion, that dwarfish, elvish freak guy. I dropped him as fast as I could. But it's just, I don't know, there's something about this game where it's like, it looks great. It's really fun to play. The combat's phenomenal. I'm enjoying the world building and everything. But it's like the story itself, the main quest, it's like, whatever, And the characters, it's like, whatever. It's kind of my thing with the game where I'm really enjoying it. Like, I think it's a solid 8 out of 10 for me. But the other issue I'm running into is not only am I not crazy about the story, I also just feel like the decision making in this game is not really paying off in any way. I feel like the choices I make and the dialogue trees that I fill out don't have any real consequence or bearing so far, and really anything I've done in the game. Now, Cronky has assured me that is going to change at the end of the game, that it will matter greatly once I reach the final act. So I'm keeping an optimistic expectation that I will have a different opinion on that as I start to round out the game this weekend. But for now, I've been kind of underwhelmed by the choice-based aspect of this game and the dialogue trees and just the main quest itself. Again, it's like interesting enough to follow along and see what's going on, but not enough that I'm like, this game is dope, you know? I'm just having a really good time playing it because it's a beautiful world to explore and be in, and the combat is so fucking good. But other than that, I'm finding Avowed to be, I don't know, I thought this was going to be like my game of the year 10 out of 10, but I feel like it's a pretty solid game, a great game that I'm glad I played, but just not the game that's like going to blow me away or take me out to the ball game. This game's not going to be buying me some crackers and peanuts and Cracker Jacks. But I do care if I ever come back when I play this game. I do. I want to come back. But I'm okay going out to the ball game with you, Avowed. But I do care if I come back. Let's put it that way. Now, Cronky writes in, he has a little bit of a different take. He goes, finally finished Avowed. I got sidetracked for a few weeks because of life and stuff, but wowzers. I love this game. I'll come in at a 9.5 out of 10. So far, it's a strong early contender for Game of the Year for me. The way all the stories come together at the end is super satisfying, and the combat stays fun, provided you keep mixing up with weapons and abilities. I love the skill trees. I love the abilities you get. I think they're super fun. I love fucking around with bows and then wands and then short one-handed swords and things like that. I love fucking around with it. The combat in this game is phenomenal. It's superb. And I look forward to seeing things come together at the end of the game and to feel like my choices meant something and that the game reaches a climax and then a conclusion that is satisfying and fun. I'm just not there yet, Cronky. So I really hope to be closer to where you are in terms of how I feel about this game by the time I wrap it up in the next week. But I don't feel that just yet. So that's really it for what I've been playing. I just don't have too much to say about it because I feel like I kind of been in the same place with this game for the past few weeks. And I feel like in the next week, if my opinion is going to change at all, I'll find out this next week. But that's really it for what I've been playing. You guys, sorry to keep it so boring. I'm sorry to... Jesse, you're such a drag. All you do is eat McDonald's and play Avowed sometimes. Well, I got to be honest with you guys. I've been really sucked in by fucking Daredevil, the TV show. God damn it. I'm on season 3. I'm halfway through season 3. And then I can finally watch the new show, Daredevil Born Again, where Daredevil says, I want to take back my virginity. And then he becomes a born-again virgin so he can save himself for Wilson Fisk and become the Kingpin's daddy, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Fucking, give himself away. So I'm excited to get to that. I'm really enjoying that show. God damn, dude. I heard season 2 wasn't as good as season 1. Season 2 was better than season 1. It's so good. God damn, it's so good. The Punisher arc, so good. So season 3 so far, I'm liking it. I'm not loving it as much, but I'm liking it a lot. I'm very much still engaged and enjoying it. Very excited to see where it goes and then to get into Born Again Virgin Daredevil. So guys, that's it for what I've been eating, watching, playing, seeing, doing, hiking, biking, trailing. Oh, trailing. Speaking of trailing, on Sunday for my girlfriend's birthday, we went to ride horsies at Disney World. We went horseback riding at Disney, and it was adorable. It was phenomenal. I rode a little 10-year-old boy horse, and I want to watch how that sounds. And his name is Denver. He's a good boy. He kept wanting to veer off course and eat leaves off of trees, and he was a very good boy, and I liked him a lot. And I rode behind my girlfriend and her horse's name was Felix, and he was a good boy too. And we didn't take many pictures, unfortunately, because we couldn't, but it was fun. And I liked riding horses at Disney World. And so when people say, you're a Disney adult, I say, yeah, I'm a Disney adult because I think the Tron roller coaster is fucking cool. And at the same exact place, I can also ride a horse. I'm sorry. Does your Six Flags let you ride a horse while you ride the Tron roller coaster? I'm sorry. Does your chic little downtown urban life with fucking overpriced cocktail bars and hipster food trucks with fucking glorified $18 mac and cheese, grilled cheese, pulled pork sandwiches, does that let you ride on the back of a horse and also ride the Tron coaster at the same place? I didn't fucking think so. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a Disney adult, okay? You fucking bitch. All right. You're sweet bitch, though. You are a sweet bitch, yeah. All right, guys. Normally we do a little notification pop sound, and then we get into like the news, but there isn't any. There isn't any news. Phil Spencer mandated it. In fact, he said, I'm going on spring break with my family. I want to take them to Walt Disney World so we can ride the Tron coaster and also ride the horsies on the back of the horsies. I hope I get Denver. I hear he's a very good horse. And that's what he said in a memo to Xbox employees. He said, so no news this week. Please just let me go ride horsies and the Tron ride at Walt Disney World with my family, please and thank you. So Phil Spencer's in my backyard right now playing around with Mickey Mouse and the gang. And until then, I guess we'll just wrap up this week with the comments, of course. But first, the important enough news. Stories important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own individual discussions. And I will just start out with this. So Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5 officially has a release date. April 17, 2025. So just a few weeks from now. So yet again, here it is. Just another big release just thrown out there. Xbox is like, put everything and anything out. I don't give a shit. Everything. Xbox and PlayStation are getting bombarded with games left and right now. And I don't understand the marketing strategy behind this. I don't understand the strategy at all behind this. There's not enough time and money to go around. But Xbox seems to want to put it all out there right now. So there we go. April 17th for PlayStation 5 owners. The bad thing for Xbox fans is, yeah, it's PS5 Pro enabled, so it's going to look and run better on PlayStation than it does on Xbox. So cry about it. And also, they had a really thoughtful, fun commercial to tease this, which is they have Troy Baker, the voice actor that plays Indiana Jones, and he's sitting on a couch talking to Nolan North, who's the voice actor who plays Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series. And it's a little bit of like a jab, a little bit of like a nod, a wink and a nod saying, hey, Indiana Jones is coming to the Uncharted platform. And Uncharted, of course, is the game that was influenced and inspired by Indiana Jones. It's a really fun, tongue-in-cheek, kind of old school trailer and a commercial ad. And it's very weird. It just very much feels like it's like this is the treatment for like, hey, Indiana Jones is officially out. We know it came to Game Pass and Xbox a few months ago, but nobody cares about that. Now it's time to talk about PlayStation, the real platform that matters. Here's a good trailer for it. Here's a release date. It runs and looks best on PlayStation 5 Pro. Fuck you, Xbox. Here you go. Here's your game. So enjoy, PlayStation players. It's a great game. I loved it when I played it 5 months ago, and I hope you do too. But yeah, that's it, guys. There's like the biggest Xbox game to come to PlayStation yet. I hope they love it. All right, next up, speaking of Phil Spencer, he says that there will be upcoming TV shows and movies based on Xbox IP. And he said this, of course, in reference to the imminent release of the Minecraft movie, which comes out next week. So yeah, he says, Spencer says that Xbox is still very much learning and growing through the process of adapting its games and film into film and TV, and that they're embracing Hollywood spirit of trial and error. He says, we learned a lot from doing Halo. We learned a lot from doing Fallout, which is whatever. They were doing that before you bought them, whatever. But so all of these build on themselves. But Spencer said in an interview, obviously, we'll have to take a couple misses. But what I'd say to the Xbox community that likes the work that you're going to see, that likes this work, is that you're going to see more, because we're confident that we're learning through this. Well, you guys didn't really do Fallout. That was Amazon and Bethesda really before you got in. So I'm going to say the good one, Fallout, the TV show, that wasn't really you, Xbox. You guys are responsible for the shitty Halo show and the probably shitty Minecraft movie, but who knows? Maybe the Minecraft movie's secretly good. I don't know. I doubt it, but maybe. Let's stay optimistic. But yeah, I would suspect that we're going to get more and more of this. I mean, PlayStation's going gung-ho into the mixed media stuff. Everyone really is these days. So I don't expect them to not do it. But, you know, if there's any doubt about it, there you go. There's Phil Spencer saying. And what's weirder than him confirming, yeah, we're going to do more of this, I think the bigger thing here is possibly him just kind of alluding to and nodding that, yeah, the Halo show sucked, or you guys don't like it at least, which I think is quite silly. But, guys, that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Let's round out with 4 comments, questions, shout-outs, write-ins, observations, and inferences from you, the audience. You go over to youtube.com/Xbox On Podcast. You click on the latest episode of the podcast. You type in Xbox On Podcast at youtube.com. You might see that official Xbox YouTube channel for the UK team, from the UK team, called Xbox On. That's not me. I'm the one with the little emo Xbox avatar looking down. You click on him. You click on the latest episode of the podcast, and you say anything and everything you want. You say, Jesse, here are 75 reasons why Chanel is my favorite luxury Prada brand. And then you list them all out. And then I say, this is an Xbox podcast. Or maybe you say something mean. You say, Jesse, I think you smell bad, and if you really use this cologne, you might smell good. Oh, wait, no, there's no fixing your ugly smell, you ugly man. You could say that. That'd be hurtful at best. That'd be a thing you could say. But you can also just go over to your favorite podcast service and drop a 5-star review. That's right. As always, I am demanding 5-star reviews. If you give me anything less than 5 stars, I'll be so sad, because that's a waste of your time and my time. Because 4, 3, 2, 1 stars, those don't help me. And they waste your time. So do us both a favor and only leave me a review if it's 5 stars or more. If you can figure out a way to get a 6-star in there, by all means, fucking do it. But guys, let's start our comments this week with Mr. Happy Mario. This is Happy Mario as opposed to Sad Mario. And he says, "Hi, Jesse. Thanks again for the podcast. Great listen for when I'm driving at work. Potbelly Restaurant must have been named after me. Unfortunately, we didn't have that restaurant here in the UK. Most of the time, I make my own sandwiches to take to work. Cheese and tomatoes and a flask of tea in true English style. Let me stop there. Listen, I take a sandwich to work almost every day, but you take a flask of tea in a sandwich with cheese and tomatoes? My God, that's some of those British shit I've ever heard in my fucking life, man. I love that. So what the fuck is that? Yeah, I mean, I do this. It's so funny how we're just like that song from the movie Cars 2, called Collision of Worlds, with one of those country pop stars and some British guy, and they sing about like the American thing versus the British thing. It's in the credits of Cars 2, the movie. Trust me, it's a thing. Look up the soundtrack, you'll find it. It's called like Collision of Worlds or something. I don't know why the fuck I know that. Maybe we could put that at the end of the podcast this week. Probably not. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, every day at work, I take a coffee because I'm American. I drink coffee, and I take a sandwich. Lately, it's been like I just been getting the 80-cent burger buns from Aldi, and then I just slap a couple chicken tenders on there, just air fry them up, throw them on there, and I just eat a chicken sandwich. Sometimes I'll put a couple pickles on there. Just eat some chicken sandwiches at work. Sometimes I do just some turkey and Swiss on like a hoagie roll or something like that. If I'm really feeling fancy, I'll try to throw some tomato and lettuce on there, but that stuff just doesn't keep throughout the week, so it's hard. But yeah, I'm a sandwich guy. Sandwich every day at work. Bring my own little snacks, bring my own sandwich, bring my own coffee. Save a lot of money that way. It's really the way to go, buddy. Don't be buying lunch all the time at work. I have those coworkers, they come to work every day, they get the Chick-fil-A breakfast, and they take the hour lunch break, and they go to like the fucking Latin spot down the road, and they get the $12 lunch special. It's like, listen, that's a good life to live, but it's not good for your wallet, and it's not good for your health in the long run. You can't be doing it. I envy it, though. I do wish I could be that man, but I'm not. I try not to be that man, Happy Mario. But some days, you got to splurge. Some days you do have to get, treat yourself. Sometimes you take the lunch break and you go to the Pollo Tropical because you want the Tropa Chop bowl with the cilantro cream sauce and the fucking grilled chicken and all the onions and peppers and toppings on the rice bowl. And it's good shit. Anyway, Happy Mario, thank you for writing in. Let's see, you did finish up here with another part that I didn't read. You said, games I've been playing, your NASCAR Arcade Rush. It was on sale for £10. Highly recommend. Will you be covering the Switch 2 next week? It's going to be exciting. NASCAR Arcade Rush, I have no idea what that is, but maybe it's fun. I like games with cars. I always try to get into NASCAR. I can't get into it. It's so boring to watch, but I'm sure NASCAR games are fun. But yeah, good racing games always a good deal. Yeah, I'll be watching the Switch 2 stuff. I'm very interested and curious and excited to see and learn more about Switch. I think we'll be covering it just by way of, I think Xbox is going to have a big presence at that showcase. I think we have a chance of getting the Oblivion remake or Halo or something like that. I think we'll see some Xbox games there. So for sure we'll be covering it. And I might throw in a couple observations and opinions while we're at it about some other stuff. But yeah, I'm very much interested. Hopefully we get to see some new Nintendo first-party stuff, something exciting for the new console. Always open to having another Mario game. 3D Mario is my favorite shit, so it'd be really nice to see a new one of those. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to watching it, man. All exciting stuff. Hey, new console's a new console. It's exciting no matter who's making it, right? All right, Tim R. writes in and says, why is Xbox so crappy when it comes to searching for games and filtering results? Why can't I remove DLC from my results? Or at the very least, holy crap, oh, where's the publisher sale? It's up to 90% off. Maybe it's time to use the Xbox gift card. Oh, yay. I get to wade through 241 Sim DLC offers to see if there's anything I actually care about. Well, in their defense, they usually do put the good stuff at the top and the bad stuff at the bottom, to be fair. But you do make a good point. You said selling games is what makes them money, I assume. So why do they just make it so hard to browse their catalog? It's just weird to me and frustrating. Is that true? Can you not filter it when you search? Well, I think when you search, you can filter, right? It's that when you go to like those game sale pages, like a spotlight page, that's what you can't filter. But that is a good point. You know, the one that always gets me is when a game's on sale. It's like, it'll be like, here's like a random example. It'll be like Star Wars Outlaws on sale. And it will be like the $100 edition of the game will be on sale for $70. And it's like, oh, that's cool, but I don't want the $100 version of the game because I'm not going to play all this DLC. I'm a responsible enough adult to admit that I'm not going to play all this. So I just want the regular base game. How much is that on sale for? And then they don't show it to you. And then you keep scrolling through the sale, and it's like, oh, there we go. Is that it? It's like Star Wars Outlaws, and it's the $80 version of the game on sale for $55. You're like, fuck me. Where is the $70 version of the game, and what is that on sale for, right? And then you keep scrolling, and you never find it. But if you go to the search bar in the general Xbox store page, and then you search Star Wars Outlaws, you'll see the deluxe edition again. Then you click on it, and then you hit other editions, and then it will show you the super expensive version, the expensive version, and then the standard edition. And that standard edition will be like on sale for $45. And you're like, great. Why do I have to jump through fucking hoops and rings of fire just to find that? It must go to show that they really do dupe and trick a lot of people. I mean, they wouldn't do it if it didn't work for them because they've been doing this for so long. But it must work a lot that by basically burying the standard edition and pushing the fuck out of the deluxe edition and being like, hey, it's on sale for 40% off or whatever, that they're able to peddle a lot of copies of this game. And that's really like what deluxe editions and DLC and expansions and season passes have really become about. Is just about peddling more pre-orders, selling additional DLC to early adopters, and then retaining value of the game as it starts to get old and the resale, that secondhand market or that sale market starts to diminish the value of the game. That's really all these deluxe editions are about, is trying to maximize the amount of money you can make on the game by artificially separating content into different silos. It's just kind of an insane practice, but it's what they have to do, man. Games are expensive as fuck to make, and they gotta find ways to get their money, and that's the reality of what we live in. So I don't know, man. I wish filtering was a little easier. I agree, it could be better. I tend to think the Xbox storefront's not that bad. I hear it's worse on PlayStation with just so much shovelware being on there. And I'll tell you this, as someone who owns a Switch and uses it once a year, there's nothing worse than the Nintendo Switch storefront. That thing is so impossible to navigate. It is missing all the features. There are no features on that storefront. So it could be better, but it also could be worse. I feel like Xbox is actually one of the better ones, to be fair. Mr. Malg writes in and says, herd mentality, Jesse. Herd mentality. That's why people default to PlayStation. It's why they default to iPhone. It's even happening in politics. Doesn't matter if a company or side is giving you a better option or things that you may be asking for. It's not the side that everyone else is on. Mr. Malg, I'm of two minds about this. I try to veer away from ever saying this, because while my knee-jerk reaction, and certainly my take on this when I was younger in life was usually something pretty similar. Not to say like I'm old and wise and you're young and immature. That's not what I mean to insinuate. But I very much used to default to that. It's like, oh, sheeple, it's a herd mentality, it's mob mentality, it's dogmatic. I think there's just more to it than that, to be completely fair. And it's why I try to be like, and you mentioned politics. It's like why I try to be so patient, as difficult as it can be, with people I don't see eye to eye with politically, because at the end of the day, the reason why people end up where they end, even if it's on quote unquote the wrong side of the fence, or they end up settling for something that is more expensive but has less value and fewer features and is less innovative. The reason people end up in those silos isn't because people are stupid or because they are giving into the mob or because whatever the case may be. It's because people don't have the time, the energy, the fortitude to basically commit themselves to becoming experts at everything. You can imagine, it's like, I don't know, man. There are some people who are nerdy about fucking car insurance, and they know everything about all the major car insurance brands, and they have all the best features and the best coverage, and they pay the best price because these guys are obsessed with saving the most money and having the most coverage and being the most set up. And I'm not one of those people. I had Progressive car insurance for the longest time, and I just recently found out in the past year that Progressive is apparently one of the fucking worst car insurance companies, and I've been overpaying like a motherfucker. And I've been doing some research trying to get better quotes. Eventually ended up switching from Progressive over to State Farm, and I'm saving a ton of money now. But the reason I'm doing that isn't just because State Farm is the sponsor of today's episode, but because I'm trying to say, like, this is obviously a silly example because who the fuck is a fan of insurance, but there are some people who are experts at that, probably people who work in the industry. But, if for the sake of an example, there are some people who are experts at these things. But when it comes to me and insurance, I only care about insurance in the sense that I want the best coverage possible for the best price possible. But aside from that, I don't want to interface with the world of auto insurance for any single second longer than I have to. And for some people, it's that way about a phone. They don't see a phone as like this awe-inspiring, super exciting, fun technical achievement. They just see it as this thing you got to have. Everyone has to have a fucking phone. And iPhone did such a great way carving out a huge segment of the market and really making the biggest name for itself in the early days of smartphones, that if you're the person who just needs the phone and you don't care about the bells and whistles and the nuance and you don't want to do the legwork and you're too busy or distracted or entertained by other things, it just does it just kind of behooves you to really look any further than what many consider to be the best and brightest, which is the iPhone. In the same sense, I think that's kind of how it works for PlayStation, where it's just like, yeah, maybe Game Pass is way better value. Maybe the Xbox controller is a way better controller. Maybe the Xbox ecosystem and platform and online services are just superior to PlayStation. I would argue that objectively that's all true. But it doesn't matter because PlayStation was there first. They carved out a bigger market. They carved out a way bigger international market. And they've stood their ground and remained competitive with great content and a great platform for players through all these years. And it's just kind of created this self-sustaining, momentum-based machine where it's like, if you just want to have the machine to play Rainbow Six with your friends, if you just want the GTA machine, if you just want to be in the place where you know you're supposed to be in order to engage with the thing you want to be entertained by, you just get the easy one. And PlayStation is a synonymous brand for people who want the good experience while playing video games. It might not be the best value, might not have the games that are best suited for your tastes, and maybe you would know that if you did the legwork and found out Xbox actually maybe has some games you like better. Doesn't matter. For the people who don't have the time, who don't have the fortitude, who don't have the complexity, the propensity, the energy, the willpower to become experts and to become fanboys just to figure out what's the best phone, what's the best gaming device, it just makes sense to default to the safe and easy option. It's how people like me ended up with Progressive Insurance for 11 years, and it's how people like Jim Sanderson, maybe that's a real person, ended up on iPhone and on PlayStation. It's and to be fair, just because you and I basically don't see the value in PlayStation over Xbox doesn't mean that PlayStation isn't better than Xbox to someone else. Someone else can have their own reasoning, their own series of logical conclusions to justify why PlayStation's a better platform, and they would be right to have those opinions and conclusions. It's just based on their position and their perspective and their whatever, their tastes. So I don't know. Yes, I am sure that is a factor in it. I think mob mentality, herd mentality is definitely a factor in some of these things. Why does everyone wear Nike when nothing Nike makes is fashionable whatsoever? I don't know. Because pure momentum and inertia. I don't fucking know. Sorry to all the people listening to the podcast who have Nike shoes and Nike hoodies and Nike sweatpants and Nike slides and Nike backpacks and Nike hats and all the rest that I just offended. But the guy that's pushing 30 in a few weeks and still wears nothing but fucking Vans and skinny jeans is calling you out on your Nikes. Although I like Nike. I think Nike makes very comfortable, very high quality clothing made in slave shops, sweatshops. That's always good too. Anyway, Mr. Maug, you have a massive penis, by the way. Did I mention that? So thank you for writing in there. Cronky writes in with the final write-in, but he has a reply to his write-in, so we'll get into all of that. So Tim R coming back with Cronky. Here we go. It's a doubleheader. He says, I am a primary Xbox gamer that does not have Game Pass. If I'm going to play games online, I will usually play them on PC. Also, I don't see the value in Game Pass for me. I understand a lot of others will get the value, but I don't think that I'm one of you. I can't see $20 a month being good value when I play a few AAA games a year already. And a lot of the not AAA games I play aren't on Game Pass anyway. Sorry, fellas, I'm a trader. Well, I know you used to be a Game Pass gooner. But anyway, Tim R replied to you, and he says, I'm in the same boat. Oh, no, they're ganging up against us, guys. Tim R says, another issue I have is that I don't have a lot of time to play right now, so I'm not always worried that I'll get balls deep into a game, only to see it leave Game Pass before I get it finished. Oh, so I'm always worried. Oh, yeah, man, that's a real fear. That's a very valid fear. You said, I am not likely to buy it for the remaining hours. Also, while also paying for a subscription to other games I am not ready to play. Just cancel the subscription when you don't need it, they say, quote unquote. But I don't feel like constantly having to evaluate my playtime / current game versus subscription status every time I want to relax. So that's not really a practical solution for me. Well, I think both of you bring up fair points. Cronky, if the games you're playing aren't the games that are coming to Game Pass, Makes total sense not to be on Game Pass. And Tim R., everything you were saying, I relate to as someone who is on Game Pass and goes through spells where I wish I wasn't on Game Pass. Because I feel all those things. I am still not done with the Yakuza series, and all the ones I have yet to play just left Game Pass. Fuck me, I guess. I've only had 4 or 5 years to do it, but fuck me, right? I totally get where you're coming from, my guy. And I do it all the time where I'm like, let me do the math. But, I mean, this year in particular, like, there's no denying it. Avowed, $70. South of Midnight, $70. We're at $140. You know, Doom, now we're at $210. Call of Duty Inevitably, now we're at, you know, $280, whatever. There, plus a couple, like one miscellaneous indie game. We're already at $300 in value for Game Pass. You know, $20 a month. We're already getting our money's worth here. So Game Pass is an easy yes for me as someone who wants to play Avowed, South of Midnight, Expedition 33, Doom, Call of Duty, and then try out some other smaller games here and there. So for me, the value is there, no doubt about it. But I agree. I wish we could just go to a simpler time of like, you buy the games you want to play, you play them, you move on. I don't think the Netflix model for gaming is my favorite solution. I just think, you know, if you're on Xbox, it would kind of behoove you not to be in Game Pass because the value is just so great that it just kind of makes sense. But I totally see your perspectives and I totally respect that. I just think for me and for most people, it just makes sense to be on Xbox Game Pass when you're on Xbox. You guys are more of the outliers, but you know, I mean, statistically, 40 Game Pass subscribers, 40 million Game Pass subscribers. The install base of the Xbox Series consoles is probably around 30 million maybe in total. And then you got to account for the PC players on Game Pass, which is maybe half of them. So, I mean, a large portion of people who have Xbox Series S and X have Game Pass. Very large portion. So the obvious value proposition remains obvious for most. But yeah, I totally respect the other side of it because I think your guys' perspective absolutely resonates and makes sense with me as well. But guys, that's it. That's all of our comments for the week. That's all of our podcasts for the week. I'm gonna go ahead and round it out there. I don't know what else to say. I'm not used to wrapping up only an hour and 10 minutes into the show, so I guess now I'll do a series of magic tricks to entertain you as we round things out. But no, I appreciate you guys being here. So check out that McDonald's Minecraft McFlurry. Let me know what you think about it. I'm going to try to give it a try sometime in the coming week. Finish up Avowed. Those are my plans for the week. You know, set goals for yourselves. Make realistic, smart goals for yourselves. Eat a Minecraft McFlurry. Finish a video game in your Game Pass library. That's what I'm going to do. What will you do this weekend? So the choice is yours. But until next week, be good, be kind. Pet your kids on the head. Kiss your cats goodnight. And until next week, power your dreams.